Hello family, I'm Barber and I'm a real alcoholic. I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Step Up Society book study. The name of this study is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. What we do up here is we all come together and we just study out the book, paragraph by paragraph. So let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the serenity prayer. Serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You know, tonight we're going to study we agnostics. We're leaving the realm of step 1 and going into step 2. But remember, I told you guys, each step is in certain sections of the first 164 pages. So as you have to have the ingredients, you have to study the pages and all the information prior to the step so you can work the step. That makes sense? You're not leaning on our own understanding up here. We're not just like arbitrarily doing a step. You're going to have all the information in order to do each step. With a lot of people, you know, in my 20 years of sobriety, a lot of people say, I'm fearful of doing a 4th step. If you're fearful of doing a 4th step and you're afraid of doing a 4th step, I can honestly tell you the reason why. That's because you're not prepared to do a 4th step. You don't have the proper information to do the 4th step. Because if you had the proper information and you were taught right, you will be willing and eager and energetic to start doing that 4th step. That makes sense? The reason people don't do it because they're not prepared to do it. But this class is going to be prepared to do it. This city will be prepared to do it. The world will be prepared to do it because we're going to make sure everybody's prepared. That makes sense? It's a simple process. This is a simple process. All right. Last night I did a class, an all males class. And I was riding over there with a friend. And he was saying, I really like this study. I really like the way you teach the books. Because you are different. He kept saying different. We didn't have to drive but from here to 5 miles. From here, 5 miles up the road. He must have said different 5 times. And it kind of hit me. I said, I don't think I'm different. Because I'm coming straight out the book. What I'm saying is coming straight out of this book. Paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence, word by word. If you go to a meeting and you hear something else, now that's different. People sharing out the side of their necks, that's different. That makes sense? I'm not giving you something different. I'm giving you the truth. So if you hear anything other, then that's different than the 12 steps. That makes sense? So what we're going to do is we're going to start, and this is, to me, this is my favorite chapter. But it's the hardest chapter for me to teach because I have to deal now with everybody's personality, everybody's beliefs, everybody's religions. Everybody don't want to be in religions, and which is okay. Before anybody makes an attempt to teach we agnostics, we have to set the ground rules first. That makes sense? It has to be some kind of rules put in place. Spirituality is all inclusive in here. There is no rights and there is no wrongs. If somebody share or somebody got a belief, it's all inclusive. That make sense? What I mean by all inclusive, I found out the hard way what all inclusive is. When I first, remember my wife first started traveling. One day we was in the office in there, and I said, well, let's go to Jamaica. She said, are you serious? I said, let's go. Got on the internet. 3 days later, bam, we was in Jamaica. We didn't buy one of them all-inclusive bands. We just got on a flight and went and got a hotel. But when I got there, If the people had the armband, they were able to do everything. They get all the rides, eat anytime they want to, drink whatever they drink. And I said, well, why I got to pay for everything? They said, you're not all inclusive. I said, what? No, the one with the armband, they paid a little extra. They can do whatever they want to do. Go to all the shows, get all the, how they had the little tours and all this. All that was included. I was left out, so I kind of get smart on them. Can I pay for my all-inclusive now? Because I saw I was losing. They said no. That was my last not or all-inclusive trip I ever took. Whenever I go somewhere, it's definitely going to be all-inclusive. So this spirituality, when we start going into the spiritual realm of the program, it's all-inclusive. Whatever someone thinks about their higher power, that's the God of their own understanding. Has nothing to do with me. So if you hear something and you don't like it, you're going to be the fool if you walk out of here talking about something. I don't think he's right. We setting the rule right now. Because we don't care what you think. It ain't about you. It's about we agnostics. If they wrote a whole chapter, put a chapter in the book, who you think they talking about? If they didn't know that, if there wasn't no need to put the chapter, then why put it in there? It's called We Agnostic, page 44. Let's go.
We Agnostic. In the preceding chapter, you have learned something of alcoholism. We hope you have made clear the distinction between alcoholic and non-alcoholic. If when you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely, or when you're drinking, you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer.
Check this out. Chapter 4, we agnostic. Let's stop there. Let's find out what an agnostic is. In the dictionary, on the internet, you can Google it. An agnostic is a person that's unknowledgeable about God. They don't know what God is. Or needs some proof that there is a God. That makes sense? Needs some help defining God. I got 2 examples that might clear the air. If not, the book gonna clear it. Okay? The first example, let's say this afro comb here. This afro comb right here. Take for instance, let's all just imagine for a second we were in the jungle. I went to the Philippines before, and the Philippines has like 2,000 islands. When I was in the military, we went to some of the remote islands, and it was doing jungle training in the Philippines. Now, let's just say the people there have no idea or never seen this before. Have no conception what it is, what it do, etc. If, let's just imagine we are there, and I was to hold this up, since no one have no knowledge about this, and I asked them, what is this? And nobody could tell you what it is. Nobody have no idea what the source of it came from, why they even made it, what's the reason it's here for, where it began. We can go on and on and on, you know what I'm trying to say? And don't even know what the purpose of it is. That would be an example of agnostic. That makes sense? That kind of makes sense? If I am the comb, let's replace that with me. I'm the comb. I did not make myself. I know I came from my mother and father, and we were talking about God. I have no idea where he's at, why I'm here, what my purpose is for, how can I receive any help from him? You better show me some proof that he exists. And at the same time, I did not make myself, I did not create myself, then I would probably be agnostic. I wouldn't be an atheist, because I probably have some kind of knowledge that there's something, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to deny God. I just don't know about no God. That's agnostic. Let me step back. Another agnostic, for me, this is only me. This is not y'all. This is not y'all. I'm a crackhead. Believe in the Bible. I believe. They told me it's 10 commandments. Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt honor thy father and mother. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not serve no other God before me. Well, there's a few more. Y'all can help me out, but you got the idea, right? I'm with you, and y'all calling me, and I'm quoting scripture left and right. You know how we do. And I'm breaking all the commandments, but you have to fight me to tell me I'm not a Christian. I'm probably agnostic. That makes sense? Kind of believe in what the scriptures say, but I'm going to break every last one of them. There's not a commandment alive I ain't broke. The 10 commandments didn't mean nothing to me, but you weren't going to tell me I wasn't a Christian. That makes sense? So here's the deal. And when my sponsor was breaking it down to me like that, he was saying, well, I said, well, I didn't never kill nobody. He said, if you took a glass stem, put some Brillo in it, fired it up, and inhale, you're killing yourself. Slowly. Slowly. So with that respect, that's agnostic. Agnostic just don't know. Want proof, need to know more about it. That's my interpretation of an agnostic. Unknowledgeable. That makes sense? So we're going to start with agnostic. The only agnostic, probably the best way I can explain it, is I'm going to break all the rules, but I might believe a little bit. AJ going to break all the rules probably and ain't going to believe nothing. So the difference is nothing. They're almost similar. That makes sense? One do, one don't. At the end of the day. But I can honestly tell you, when I was walking around, and this takes a lot of practice to do with agnostics. I mean, I can read the words, but to get am I right there? To get the meaning of it, you're going to have to search inside yourself. I know for a fact that I spent most of my life searching for a God. Nobody never told me until I came in the 12-step program to look on the inside. So I spent a lot of time looking on the outside. Walking, homeless, looking through the sky. You know, I was that desperate. I looked through the sky, hoped the sky would open up and I could see the Last Supper. I was looking for Jesus. Reading thousands of books, hoping something gonna jump off the page and jerk me into the spiritual world. I spent a lot of years searching on the outside of me. For me, I didn't get very, very much power in that. But when I did come to this program, work these 12 steps, today I have a power that's greater than me, that's a part of me. It's like it's to me. That makes sense? There's a flesh me. There's the body that y'all see right here that work, that operate out of my flesh, out of my senses, out of my knowledge, my intellect, and my feelings. But they only go so far. That's what I call the older me or the the one that operate in the flesh, the one that operate in this realm right here. But I can honestly tell you, and you don't have to be where I'm at, there's another me that's spiritual. That's the I am in me. That's universal. That overpowers everything. No matter what I want to do, no matter where I want to be in life, that's the one that I can call on, sit still, know that I am God, imagine where I want to be. Am I right? And it will have no choice but to manifest because it go there before my body get there. It go there before I'm there. I can be in that office, sitting that I am to California. Let it feel it there. I don't want to be in California. I am in California. I don't pray of something. I pray from something. And it manifests every time. Because it's two of me. The one y'all see right here and the one that's in California right now. As I'm speaking to y'all. Deep. Deep. I just want to put that in there. Because I didn't start there though. I started just for the day. One day at a time. That was the beginning. That makes sense? I just want to throw that in there. You don't have to be where I'm at. I don't want you to be where I'm at. But I want you to start somewhere tonight. How's that? All right. No. Let me do this. In the preceding chapters, we have learned something of alcoholism. The introduction, then chapter 1, 2, and 3, we spent a lot of time on the disease of addiction, or the physical allergy. How the physical allergy, if I put any alcohol or drugs into my body, it's going to crave for more. We talked about that. We talked about the mental obsession. How it's a thought that overrides all normal thinking. We talked about that. We talked about once you get that combination going and you go out and you gig up all your money or you drink up all your money and you're looking stupid and you're in remorse. We talked about those bad feelings and remorse. We also talked about the mental twist, about all the thoughts that precede a relapse. If you got a thought to say, I can't shine my shoes unless I'm drinking. I can't go to the club unless I got to get me something to drink. I can't wash my car without a six-pack. I can't wash my clothes without some alcohol. You got all these little mental twists. I can't study in college unless I have me a six-pack. See, a lot of stuff was insane to me. I saw people studying without six-pack. That made no sense to me because I thought you had to be a little tipsy and your mind opened up because the beer and the river help you philosophize more. So, I'm ready to, I had all them kind of mental twists going on. There's no way on earth I was going to be able to stay clean. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There were too many of them. I had 50 of them little, setups in my head. I never went on a date from the time I was 14 to 45 without being high. That made no sense. Yes, sir. I learned how to dance real good. People say, why you don't dance? I ain't there dancing with no girl. I had to bottle wine. I had a fifth in my car. While they was in there dancing, I run out to the car and get drunk and come back in. I learned how to do all kind of alcohol tricks, twisted thinking. I never went to a bar. I had to make money because I couldn't do what I did without money. I go to a bar, here's a mental twist. Pay the bartender $100 tip to have me, no matter who I was with. I could have been with President Obama. He wouldn't have figured this one out. I had a bartender always have me an extra shot right up there with a towel, a paper towel on top of it, a napkin. I'll be sitting with Obama. Excuse me, you and Michelle, I got to go to the bathroom. Excuse me, get up all gently, man-like, go to the bathroom, the bartender slide it to me. Go to the bathroom, come back. About halfway through the dinner, at the presidential dinner, I'm drunk as a coon. I'm drunk it all outdoors, and they looking at me like, how he get like that? I done been in the bathroom 4 or 5 times, told them I had a bladder infection. They never knew. So my point is, that's what we learned about alcoholism. And that's funny, right, y'all? All right. It said, I told you I was real. We hope we have made clear the distinction between the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. The non-alcoholic is a person who can start with the mind and stop with the mind. You're non-alcoholic, got them in your family now. They can start drinking, they can make up their mind, I'm going to the bar. They can start drinking, they can make up their mind, I'm going to stop and go home. And they stop. The alcoholic do half of it right. We start with the mind too. I'm going to the bar with you. I'm going to drink a couple of drinks, then the allergy kicks in. They tell me, let's go. Yeah, look, I got to holler at you later. I can't leave because I can't quit. Because my craving, my physical allergy, the phenomenal craving becomes so big that my mind can't stop me from craving. That makes sense? Yeah. It's beyond my mental control. When you honestly want to, you find you cannot quit entirely or when drinking, you have little control over the amount you take, you are probably alcoholic. You can't control the amount you put in. Once you start, you're an alcoholic. If that be the case, you may be suffering from an illness which only a spiritual experience will conquer. We got to have spirituality to get past this one. Nothing humanly possible can stop us if we full-blown addicts, full-blown alcoholics. There's nothing. You can't go to no doctor and say, give me some Robitussin to stop me from geeking. Can't go get no shots. That make sense? Can't get no massages. None of that gonna work. There's got to be a power that's greater than you.
To one who feels he is an atheist or an agnostic, such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of a hopeless variety. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual base are not always easy alternatives to face.
To one who feels he is an atheist or agnostic, ain't that much of a difference. One kind of believe, not so sure, and one don't. That make sense? Such an experience seems impossible. But to continue as he is means disaster, especially if he is an alcoholic of the hopeless variety. Remember we went over the word hopeless? If you're hopeless, it's a little experiment that I learned to do. Just take anything that's worthwhile, that was worthwhile in your life when you were using. Your family, your bills, your car, your education, your job, your church, your kids, your family reunions, you know what I'm trying to say? Anything, just write them on a list. It don't take but 5 minutes. Then next to it, write when I was using, was it dead or alive? My relationship with my mother, was it dead and alive when I was using? Dead. My relationship with my kid, dead. My relationship with my bill collector, dead. My relationship with my education, dead. My relationship with my kids, dead. My relationship with my cell phone, dead. My relationship with my dog, dead. Some people like, dog, yeah, trust me. Dead. Then you hopeless. That makes sense? To be doomed to an alcoholic death. Remember I told you it's about living or dying. We're not playing a joke up here. This 12-step program is a live or die situation for a lot of us. To be doomed to an alcoholic death or to live on a spiritual basis are not always easy alternatives to face. You don't have but two choices. To live spiritually or die alcoholically. That's it. There's no middle of the road solution. All right.
But it isn't so difficult. About half our original fellowship were exactly that type. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue. Hoping against hope, we faced the fact that we must find a spiritual base of life, or else perhaps it is going to be that way with you. But cheer up, something like half of us thought we were atheists or Agnostics. Our experience shows that we need not be disconcerted.
But it isn't so difficult. We're talking about those choices. About half of our original fellowship were exactly that type. Remember the 100 plus in the beginning? They say 50 of them was agnostic or atheist. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue, hoping against hope we were not true alcoholics. I know I was like that from the beginning. I didn't come in here thinking I was like real alcoholic or addict. I just wanted to stop using, you know, to just clear my head and move on by my life. I wasn't really y'all, you know. And I told y'all sitting in the back thinking ain't a damn thing funny. So, you know, I wasn't really one of y'all. I told you about my time when I went to the church with recovering. I thought the pastor didn't have enough sense to be preaching. I had 30 days and I told him, you need to get out the pulpit and let me preach. So you know I wasn't nobody. At first, some of us tried to avoid the issue, hoping against hope we were not true alcoholics. But after a while, we had to face the fact that we must find a spiritual basis of life or else die. Life or death. Perhaps it's going to be that way with you, but cheer up. Something like half of us thought we were atheists or agnostic. Our experience shows that we need not be disconcerted or confused or embarrassed. Don't even matter, y'all. Just relax. Let's have fun. I think this spirituality and all this is overrated sometimes. It's easier to have it than to not have it. It's easier to have it and more fun to enjoy it than to judge it. It's way more rewarding on the good side than on the bad side. It's better to have it and live happy, joyous, and free than hate it and die. It's a real fun thing to do. It's kind of fun. It's kind of like a game. Just relax and have fun. Take the ride. All right. This is my favorite paragraph right here. Go ahead.
If a mere code of morals or better philosophy of life was sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered long ago. But we found that such codes or philosophies did not save us. No matter how much we tried, we could wish to be moral, we could wish to be philosophical. In fact, we could will these things with all our might, but the needed power wasn't there. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed utterly.
You know what? This moral and philosophical philosophy of life or better way of life, a lot of times we think that if I become a better person, the disease of addiction will vanish or leave me. That makes sense? Let me give you my example. But I'm going to put everybody in it. How's that? We all get in it. Let's say we all. Now, all of us believe that we real addicts, correct? Because we do have the disease of addiction. Everybody should know that by now. Right along. Let's all go to a party. Let's use our imagination. Let's go to a party. Tonight we're at this party, and we all addicts, and we all, no, I'm not going to use that word. We all have the disease of addiction. Full-blown disease of addiction. And we use them. And we go to a party tonight, and everybody in the house is pimps, prostitutes, thieves, and con men and women. And I'm one too. And we all use them. And we having a good time. Our morals ain't too high. And our philosophy ain't that great either. But we all there. Am I right or wrong? Yeah. Now, boom. We come up out of that. Now, let's all go to Harvard. We all in Harvard now. Not undergrad students. We all grad students. Same one that was at the party. Now we done changed our philosophy. And we have decided we're going to have a better philosophy of life. We're going to be educated people. Done finished grad school, now we, undergrad, grad school. But we ain't did no 12 steps. We ain't worked on no disease of addiction. Do anybody think the disease is gone? No. It's still there. It's still there. At the end of that party that night, every last one of us still gonna be what? Drunk. We still gonna be drunk. Now let's read that paragraph again. If a mere code of morals or a better philosophy of life was sufficient to overcome alcoholism, many of us would have recovered a long time ago. I tried all that. I was drunk in high school. I'm not going to be drunk in college. Because college will make me a better man. I was the drunkest one there. You know what I'm saying? Here, how about mother? I was drunk on the first baby. But I ain't going to be drunk on the second one. Second one comes just as drunk as you was on the first one. What about jobs? Same thing. But we found that such codes and philosophies did not save us. No matter how much we tried. We could wish to be moral. We can wish to be philosophically comforted. In fact, we can will these things with all our might. But the needed power was not there. It ain't there. Yeah. Care how much education you don't went and got. You still an addict. Our human resources, as marshaled by the will, were not sufficient. They failed us utterly. That's my favorite. Because I know I was in the church, and I'm not proud of what I say, but I would go in the church. I would stop using early Saturday around 12. Sober up. I was a deacon. I make it sober. I would fight like I was Abraham or just somebody fighting with God to get the church sober Sunday, to be the deacon and to teach Sunday school. I had this full-blown addict thing going on, the alcohol, the disease of addiction. Yeah. Make it through that process in 2-3 hours, then I was waiting to exhale. As soon as I got free, I would go. Didn't work. But I was thinking, by being a deacon in the church with a better philosophy and better morals, I would be saved from the disease of addiction. That was my thought. It didn't work, but I lived like that. I lived with that belief. That makes sense? Failed utterly. I stole the church money.
Lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live. And it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously, how were we to find this power?
Lack of power. That was our problem, y'all. Yeah. We had education. We changed good morals. We came up with better philosophies of life. But we had lacking power. See, when I was telling y'all about that other person that lived in me, that I am that's in me, that's a living organism. It's alive. I can put it anywhere I want to. Am I behind to follow? That's power. That's power. Lack of power was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. I don't care what you call it, just don't call it you. I don't care what you call it, but don't call it James. Obviously, but where and how will we define that power? Bam! That's where you find it. Don't look through the sky and through the clouds, waiting on a helicopter to drop it in your lap.
Well, that's exactly what this book is all about. It means its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself, which will solve your problem. That means we had to have written a book which believed to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, that we are going to talk about God. Here, difficulty arise with Agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise as we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship. But his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God. For we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had nearly evaded or entirely ignored.
Well, it says that, but where and how will we define this power? Well, that's exactly what this book is about. This book is about helping you or teaching you how to find a power that's greater than yourself. That cured or opened up people's minds right now. You know where you can go now to find a power greater than yourself. If you were searching all over for all your life looking for that power that's greater than you, and you didn't have no direction on how to find it, well, here's how you can find it. It's in here. And we're going to go paragraph by paragraph to everybody get it. That makes sense? Its main object is to enable you to find a power greater than yourself which will solve your problem. I'm going to say whatever problem it is. All problems. Proven fact. That means we have written a book which we believe to be spiritual as well as moral. And it means, of course, we're going to talk about God. I want y'all to understand that this is all inclusive. So when I'm talking about my God, the way I see God, I'm also going to talk about what the book says it, but I have grown over 20 years, okay? But please don't get no resentment with me. Don't let what I say stop you from coming back in here. Please don't do that. Get what you need to get out of it. Don't walk out of here, and I know somebody going to do it tonight. Get to the parking lot and say, that damn Robert, I don't believe nothing he say. I know that's going to happen. Please keep coming back. I ain't trying to make you me. I'm just giving you what I got. That makes sense? Yeah. Don't judge. The page, you can see it on the page. I'm just giving you my experience with it. Please don't become closed-minded or prejudiced or judgmental or resentful. Just be open-minded. You wasn't that judgmental in them bars. Wasn't that judgmental in them crackhead houses. All of a sudden you in here judgmental. I never had a resentment when I was using. And if I did, I didn't know what it was, because as soon as I got mad, somebody handed me something to drink and I was happy again. So I wasn't all that serious and concerned and sensitive then. That makes sense? Yeah. Here, difficulty arises with agnostics. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise when we do drunkalogs. Whenever we talk about crack or you drinking or something like that, everybody giggle. Then we talk about God, whoop, drop a pin on the floor and hit. Many times we talk to a new man and watch his hope rise when we discuss his alcoholic problems and explain our fellowship. That's funny. And laughter is healing. But his face falls when we speak of spiritual matters, especially when we mention God. For we have reopened a subject which our man thought he had neatly evaded or entirely ignored. Where he pushed down, isolated it, put it in a jar, and just closed the lid up. And I can understand that. Because, you know, in my case, I don't know about nobody else, I was raised with God was a punishing God in such a way. Everything you did wrong, you were doomed to go die in hell for eternity. Boy, you're dying, you're going to die, and you're going to go to hell, and you ain't going to never get out. At the age of 4, I knew I was doomed. It's over. But what y'all tell me, at the age of 4, I was through. Yeah. I was gone. There was no hope in that one. You know? So if I carry that with me all the time, you know what I'm trying to say? Then I get here, then, you know what, I don't want to hear that. So I'm asking you, I wasn't the only one. Go ahead.
We know how you feel. We have shared this honest doubt and prejudice. Some of us have been violently anti-religious. To others, the Word of God brought up a particular idea of Him with which someone had tried to impress them during childhood. Perhaps we reject this particular concept because it seems inadequate. With that rejection, we imagine we had abandoned the God idea entirely. We were bothered with the thought that faith and dependence upon a power beyond ourselves was somewhat weak, even cowardly. We looked upon the world of warring individuals, warring theological systems, and inexplicable calamity with dependent skepticism. We looked
Askance
at many individuals who claim to be godly. How could a supreme being have anything to do with it all? And who could comprehend a supreme being anyhow? Yet in other moments we found ourselves thinking, when enchanted by a startling light, who then made all this? There was a feeling of awe and wonder, but it was fleeting and soon lost.
All right, check this out. We know how he feels. We have shared his honest doubt and prejudice. Some of us have been violently anti-religious. And I noticed, you know, I guess everybody knows this, and this is a known fact everywhere. Like preacher kids. You know, when I was growing up, there were preachers in the neighborhood that had kids. They seemed to be the worst. Yeah. You know, they were they had to sit down and get all the lesson, all the Bible, just pour it down their throats. You know, and they were like, hey, look, enough is enough. You know, my wife family, you know, I don't want to speak, you know, like much about it, but Jehovah's Witnesses, and I hear stories all the time about they couldn't wait till they got a certain age to get away. Because they didn't have no Christmases, they didn't have birthday parties, they didn't have none of that stuff. They were like, couldn't wait, but they were like, dun, 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 boy, I can't wait to go. So they can get out of there. That's how they felt. You know? Now me, I didn't have all that. Because my family could take it or leave it. You know what I'm trying to say? I had that kind of, you go this Sunday, fine. You don't go there another year, fine. You know what I'm saying? But they had it was another kind of religion. It what they learn a few verses to tear your ass up with them. Like, you don't go to hell. You know? It wasn't that much education in it. Wasn't that much scriptures in it. They had a few verses to beat you down with. That makes sense? Yeah. And they stuck. They stuck with you. They wasn't going to all that church, but they knew enough to keep you down. To others, the word God brought up a particular ideal of him with which someone had tried to impress them during childhood. That's what we're talking about, really. And everybody got that. All right. Perhaps we rejected this particular concept because it seemed inadequate. This is one I never could understand. That's inadequate. This is just me. And I'm not using color or race or anything. I just could not comprehend, because I'm from Cascade. I could not, and most men around there were gone. There wasn't but a few that had fathers, you know, families. you know, that I associated with. 1 or 2 had the father was there. My father was an alcoholic. He wasn't there. He was in Milledgeville. The neighbors around there, maybe a couple of them had fathers. You know what I'm saying? But I'll go 50-50. How's that? And I was in the 50 that didn't have a father in the household. So when they told me God was the man, and then they start using words like nurturing, loving, kind, considerate. I'm like, wait a minute. What kind of man? I ain't know no too many men like that. That sounds like grandma. Yeah, big mama. It ain't no man. The men that I grew up around, you understand what I'm saying? The men I grew up with, they wasn't nothing like this one. Nothing like the God y'all trying to put out here to me. So to me, that was inadequate. They called him a man. When I really want to get close with God, I said God had more feminine ways than a man did. He sounded like a woman to me. And you know, there's a lot of countries and stuff that male character God they don't use. Did you really do some reading? But I just wanted to throw that in there. It was inadequate for me. That makes sense? Okay. It said, with that rejection, we imagined we had abandoned the God ideal entirely. I became God at a couple times. When I was in the military, I told y'all, I really adopted a God-like personality in a negative way. I never forget standing in front of them companies. You know, when I got some rank. Standing in front of the companies, calling companies to attention. Companies, up, hand, up, bam, 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 bam. 200 men, 200 men, 200 men, 200 men. I watch them all, bam. I said, damn, I'm God. I'm the man, I'm God. Man. And I acted like that. I acted like that. I believed that I had the power. And it was just there. That makes sense? If it was something like Lucifer, I was it. 'Cause I rose up. I ain't need nothing but me. That makes sense? Totally self-centered. We were bothered with the thought that faith and dependence upon a power beyond ourselves was somewhat weak, even cowardly. Military men think like that. When I was in the military, I thought like that. Anything outside of me and my guy were weak. I would think like, in a way, professional sport people might think like that too. You know what I'm trying to say? I know I can't say, but when you get a group of strong men together, you can easily kind of push aside a power greater than them. You know what I'm trying to say? They're all on TV. They're all in the news. You know what I'm trying to say? You ever walking down the street, see yourself on magazines? I can imagine that you get some kind of a different kind of perception about this whole thing. You know what I'm trying to say? I can imagine seeing myself everywhere, and if I wasn't spiritually fit for it, I would have another kind of mentality toward it, wouldn't you? All right, it says that